enjoyed the fact that Tiffany Stratton just walked out at the start of SmackDown with no music and was like, give me a microphone because I want to talk to Jade Cargill, because sometimes wrestling forgets this. If you do have a big turn 7 days beforehand, even though wrestlers will not talk in the interim, they will still quiet until they're allowed to go on TV. It just reminds you what that person did was a big deal. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to SmackDown Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need, where we are going to review SmackDown and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. It's a nice simple concept because I am stupid. And as always, thank you very much for nordvpn.com/WhatCulture. I mean, that's the link that you can use. There is a description down there in the link. I'm getting my words all wrong. But the point is this, if you're away and you still want to watch your wrestling in a certain way, what the flub is going on? The point is, sign up. You're going to get an amazing deal. You get like 4 months free, and it's basically less than $3 a month, and it's just going to allow you to consume even more wrestling at a fair price. Sound good? I think so. Now let's up those down. Tiffany Stratton mostly wanted to fight Jade Cargill right away when Nick Aldis walked out and said, "We told you, Jade, you're kind of cleared, but not kind of clear." He didn't call her Jade. Her name is Tiffany. Somebody hasn't gone to sleep. When Jade Cargill walked out, it was all like, "I am going to beat you," at Saturday night's main event. And during the bit where you see wrestlers coming into the arena, I think Jade was dressed as the Punisher, and here she was dressed as Catwoman, so she was going through a lot of costume changes. Now, the useless wrestling security did do their job because they didn't start to fight, and Jade said she was hungry for gold. I hope she doesn't mean that literally, otherwise she is going to die when she promised that come next week's SmackDown, she will be the women's champion. And once again, she absolutely should be. Like, if you are going to turn heel and then go after a title and lose, you're just going to look like a massive goober. And also, something happened later where if you do want to have Tiffany Stratton get defeated with a bunch of shenanigans, well, you've laid the table. I think Jade also said that taffy time was over, so maybe she'd been eating candy all day. And this was short and sweet, and I actually think it will work, repeat myself, as long as Jade Cargill wins that championship. Also, the only feud that Tiffany Stratton seems to have is Jade Cargill and Nia Jax. They're a little bit of Charlotte Flair over WrestleMania, so let's just pull the trigger, let's have some fun. That's what wrestling's meant to be. Give it an up. It's perfectly fine. We then went backstage, we saw the Motor City Machine Guns talking to R-Truth, who was dressed as Santa Claus, because of course, even though it's Halloween, R-Truth thought it was Christmas. I like R-Truth. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever, but I do have to say, I feel like we can use him better than this. I just realized that it is Halloween as well. I mean, we dressed up on Raw, so we should probably dress up on SmackDown too. That's right, and I've just put a hat on. This is the laziest Halloween costume ever. But anyway, Solo Sikoa found the Motor City Machine Guns, and he was like, "Ha ha, you're like Harry Potter." And Chris Sabin seemed perfectly fine with this, and he started waving around a wand. They didn't do that. We didn't seem that insulted at all. We actually think he threatened to use a magic spell, and because the MFTs want to be the tag team champions, and the Machine Guns want to be a tag team champions, they're going to have a match later today. Before all that, though, we did have our US title open challenge when Ilja Dragunov decided, "I'm going to kill you, Nathan Frazer." Honestly, flubbed me sideways. Thank goodness it was Nathan, because at one point, Tommaso Ciampa also walked out and he was like, "Well, I got into the ring first or something," when Ilja became their dad and said, "Listen, I've already picked Nathan, you're going to have to go again." Although saying that, it would be quite funny if you did have an open challenge and it was literally whoever gets to the ring first wins, or they did that on NXT, and they kind of did it in TNA. It's always really stupid. Don't worry about that though, because yes, you should go and watch this. It is just 10 to 15 minutes of straight up attempted murder. At one point, Ilja grabbed Nathan Frazer and gave him this German suplex on the outside, and he even said, "It's not personal." I was like, that's not going to hold up in court. A judge is still going to be really mad, and then some of the near falls in the ring. Like when Nathan Frazer hit one of his flippity-doo-dah moves from the top rope and got a 1-2-ooh, the big part of me thought there's no way Nathan Frazer's going to win, but just a teeny tiny part right here in my tum-tum. I was like, oh my gosh, he got him. Ilja Dragunov at one point went for a move as well and just fell right down and basically looked like he was dead. That's when Nathan Frazer was busting out Phoenix splashes. I mean, this felt nothing like your usual WWE match, and that's why it stood out like a sore thumb. Also, fair play to Ilja Dragunov, because he watched what Sami Zayn did over his 8 open challenges and has gone, you know what, I can probably do better still. And the moment he may very well just do that. Basically, at the end as well, they were just punching each other right in the face when Ilja was able to hit a power bomb and finish Nathan off with an H-bomb. So quite clearly, he's obsessed with explosive devices. And he got the 1-2-3. And even though they had a big hug-a-thon afterwards, because you would do that, Tommaso Ciampa was back. He whipped everybody's ass, which probably means not only will we do DIY versus a variation of these guys, but you're probably going to do Ilja Dragunov versus Tommaso Ciampa too. Let's not pretend Ciampa isn't a great wrestler. So that's also going to kick ass. It's getting an up. It's nice and simple stuff, but the bar, the level of these things is through the roof. You should go and check it out today. We also teased future matches too, because after this backstage, you did have DIY, and you had Fraxium, and you had Ilja Dragunov yelling at each other. When Tonga walked in and went, yeah, like he was a broken robot, and actually I'd be well down for that. Do you remember when Tonga had that singles run in New Japan? He was a IWGP champion, the US champion, remember? I can't remember, but it was damn good, so we should do it. When we followed up from last week, because Carmelo Hayes had decided he didn't like the fact that Kit Wilson had said he was part of the toxic masculinity problem, so they had a match. Listen, I like Kit Wilson, I'm glad he's been repackaged, I hope Elton Prince is doing okay, but you could see all this coming a mile off. Like, it was okay, it was fine, but I did think maybe we could have done a little bit more. Of course, The Miz ran out of 1.2, so I put a 1 on the dick board because he hates Carmelo Hayes, and it even threw him into the ring post, and why I did enjoy that is because WWE kind of did a double tease there. It didn't work, and Melo just hit the first 48, and he got the 1, 2, 3, which also means he didn't use nothing but net. I enjoy it when signature maneuvers get a 1, 2, 3. Of course, his victory was short-lived because The Miz gave him a skull-crushing finale, and what I think we should do is wrap this feud up before the end of the year, and in 2026, we take Carmelo Hayes to one side and say, listen, Melo, you're about to be pushed to the moon, so you may want to buy some real estate up there. I mean, he's good to go. I mean, there's nobody here. I don't know who I'm pointing at, but this kind of summarized SmackDown altogether last night. It was all right. It was okay. It was fine. I am going to give it an up, but maybe we can just do a little bit more at any given time. We then had the best backstage segment with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, because they were being interviewed, and they were like, well, the Kabuki Warriors will never be friends. Alexa Bliss is going to fight Nia Jax later, and she doesn't have any friends, but when it comes to us, we're the best friends. I think we need to lean into this more. It's stupidly funny. We then cut to Sami Zayn talking to Nick Aldis, and this made me crack up, because Sami was saying, listen, we all know the MFTs are going to be mucking around and getting involved in their Motor City Machine Guns match later, so let me go out there too, because I hate the machine guns. And Nick Aldis went, listen, you're 100% right, Sam, but I can't do that because you're not cleared. But then did he pass any kind of edict that the MFT should stay in the back? Nope. He's just going to let it happen. He's a terrible general manager. Cody Rhodes then walked in, and of course, because he and Sami Zayn are both mega baby faces, they basically made nice love in front of you. They didn't do that. I shouldn't have said that. But Sam did kind of insinuate, maybe I'm going to go after that title, when Nick was like, Cody, have you read the contract? Cody said, yes, I have. Are you happy to sign that contract, Cody? Yes, I am. Do you think Drew will want to save it? I don't know. I'm not him. We were just setting up the main event. Well, I'm going to throw it down in there, and I'm being a massive nerd, so set your nerd phases to nerd. That's a stupid thing to say. But it was indeed Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. It's like, man, why can't we just have, that hat's done, why can't we just have the tag team champions in a tag team match? Like, we all know they're heading towards the Kabuki Warriors, so I think that should be the focus. You could have had them take out an enhancement talent here, or some local people, or something like that. But doing Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, I just didn't get it. I thought it was weird. And also, it ended with the babyface's casting distraction as the poor heel was left all by herself. This one didn't make any sense. The match itself was totally fine because, of course, back in the day, Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax actually had a great feud. And because Nia is big and Alexa is small, she was throwing her around the place. And poor Rita the ring post, they both went into her. Rita was having a terrible evening. Jax didn't care about any of that though, so she grabbed Bliss and just chucked her into Barry Barricade. And genuinely, when she was about to hit the Annihilator, Charlotte Flair got up on the ring apron, and Michael Cole said, well, she's not done anything physical, so why should anybody care? That allowed Alexa Bliss to basically, I don't know, flatten Nia Jax when she booted her in the face and kind of hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment surprise roll-up, but it wasn't really. And actually, I like that finish. If, like, you take someone down from the top rope and they crumple in a heap and you boot them in the nose, you probably sometimes you get a win. But yes, put a 1 on the dick board. I just don't think we needed to do this. And once again, I really do think the focus should be the Kabuki Warriors. This one was just a little bit weird. And also, I guess that Nia Jax now goes and gets a friend, so we can do those kind of tag team matches. Just pick a lane, right? That's kind of how I feel. I just love these women tag team championships, and I think we can do more. I also think Alexa and Charlotte have done some good work. But listen, in terms of a bell-to-bell thing, I wasn't offended by it or anything, so I will give it an up. But as for that finish, you know what, I do have to give it a down. It's totally unnecessary. Imagine Alexa Bliss had just beaten Nia Jax 1, 2, 3. You'd be like, wow, what a super competitor you've become. I'm also going to throw another down in because the UK version of SmackDown on Netflix now has adverts. And because it didn't used to have adverts, and now it has adverts, you've circumvented my expectations, and I'm a child, So you are getting it down. Phoenix then found Solo Sikoa backstage. This was so damn funny. One, Solo reacted to Phoenix like he was a ghost, like he'd never seen him before. And when he thought that he wanted a match with him, Phoenix was like, nope, I want a match with Tala, I'm the tallest Tonga. He stood on a box-like structure, so he could be the same height, and he slapped him. I thought this was great. It's the small things. Within 8 seconds, Phoenix had come across like a psychopath. Now, can you believe it? Well, I do want to see that match, but man, poor Phoenix, he is going to get smushed. Then in a quick video with Damian Priest, where he essentially ended with his big punishment line, because of course he used to be Punishment Martinez, and it ties into the whole feud with Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. And I do understand why he is mad. They tried to set him on fire. Just think this feud has become a bit wibbly wobbly. It would have been way better if Damian could have done a promo in the ring. We have just called Damian Priest off over the last few months. I don't get why. Like at the start of 2025, he's the coolest dude ever. I hope we can get back to that. But look, in terms of a backstage, this has been edited video thingamajig. Pretty good. This is when Tiffany, Stratton, Kiana James, and Julia fell out for the, let me check my notes, 789th time. And Julia here basically said she was going to kill Tiffany Stratton. She went, maybe you'll never say a word again. So, at the very least, she wants to rip her tongue out. One of the crowd cannon. Chelsea Green then walked in as well, and she wants a match with Julia next week, because if not, Julia will become the longest reigning US Women's Champion. And at the moment, that is Chelsea. Honestly, I rarely say this. This was bad, right? At first, Nick Aldis was like, nope, I'm not signing off on this. And when Chelsea begged for it, he literally went, shrug emoji, do whatever you want, and he walked off. It's not his fault, but this poor women's US title, even the fake general manager of the companies are this bugbear, this noose around my neck. I can't stand it. I'm giving it down. For goodness sake, can we just do more with that thing? You booted it into existence. Becky Lynch did a great job with the IC title on Raw. I do not understand why we can't copy and paste. I do want to point out that Chelsea Green was great as always, and listen, Julia has all the potential in the world. This has become like Google mapping to your own home. It's totally pointless. And next, yes, we had highlights from earlier in the night where the Bearcat mascot was taking on the Utah Hawk mascot. And one of them did a people's elbow, and Michael said, Michael Cole said it was called the People's Wing. Now listen, I like goofy wrestling for life. It's my favorite thing. This was terrible. It was so bad. Like, it doesn't make a difference. It wasn't on the proper show. It was a glorified advert. But it's one of those things where someone in WWE is like, this would be so funny. I was like, nope. You got it totally wrong. Give me a second, I have to calm down. When we kind of got some future tag team title action, at least that's what they're gunning for, ironically, because it was the Mostly Machine Guns versus the MFTs. And what happened? Solo Sikoa gets on the dick board with some distractions, and Tonga was doing it too. This is why you didn't need to do it in the Alexa Bliss match. Just save it for here, especially when the other two are babyfaces. Solo really does make me laugh though, because his mannerisms are so damn funny. And at one point, after Alex Shelley had been totally murked, Chris Sabin got the tag, he went totally crazy, he ran wild, they were hitting a bunch of dives, at least two, to put a 2 on the dive counter. When Alex Shelley got back in there were quite a few tags, and they were ready to do skull and bones. When Tonga just went, nope, and he pushed Alex Shelley off the top rope. That's when Tonga hit the, well, hidden blade, essentially. I think he's calling it the cutthroat something or other, and he got the 1, 2, 3. I quite like this finish, because the NFTs came across like such assholes. And no, I don't care that Tonga is using that move. It's a flying elbow. Nobody else in WWE is doing it. Just do it. So it certainly feels like the long-term play is getting the MFTs to be the tag team champions. And we should probably do that, because ever since they did hit reset and they have come back, they do have some edge to them, not Adam Copeland, he went to AEW. And you want to fulfill that. And it's not like the Wyatt Six do much either, so don't worry about it. I should also point out, I forgot about this, at the end of that Chelsea Green segment, Nikki Cross was just standing there and she scared everyone, but she wasn't in a Halloween costume, she was in her normal clothes. And really, talking about that US title, we should probably do something with Nikki Cross. Back to the tag match, I am going to give it an up. Once again, I'll tie it in with the entirety of SmackDown. It was alright, it was fine. I was perfectly good with this. Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis then had a chat, and Drew was a massive troll here, because Nick was like, are you happy with everything in the contract? And Drew was like, yes, I'm happy with everything in the contract. When we got to our main event segment, and you're not going to believe it, but Drew was not fine with everything in the contract. But they both got in the ring, and yes, Cody Rhodes was all happy to sign it when Drew was like, I'm not signing this. Because over the last few weeks, Cody Rhodes, you have proved this is a bunch of baloney. Like, if you go and get disqualified or counted out, you keep the championship. But if I do those things, I walk around with nothing. And don't forget, we did fight a couple of weeks ago, and you smashed me in the head with the title. Nick was like, you're a child. You're a baby. I'll get somebody else to do this, be in the match. And this is why Drew McIntyre's great. He went, all right, fine. And he was going to leave. More heels need to do that, especially ones like Drew. You shouldn't be getting on your knees for management. Of course, Cody Rhodes, though, is the ultimate babyface. He was like, no, come back, you Scottish warrior. Of course, I will put those things in the deal. And for some reason, Nick Aldis had a meltdown about this. Cody, I strongly advise against it. What do you care? You've actually proved Drew McIntyre right. You are showing bias. If the champion is happy with these rules, and so is the challenger, well, you should just let him do it. Drew McIntyre then reminded Cody Rhodes he owes him everything, because when Drew McIntyre got let go from the company, it was he who went out there and sort of invigorated his name, and that's the template that everybody in WWE still use. You should go out there and do a Drew. Cody's like, yep, I did do that, it's true. You were a bit of an inspiration, but there's one big change. You got fired, Drew, whereas I took the onus and I went out there on my own. He then had the best line when he said, nice guys finished last until I got here. I was like, Cody, you are the flipping best. And actually, fair play to both of them. This was a really good back-to-back promo segment thingamajig. Drew is such a troll, of course. He then started talking about Cody Rhodes and his daughters, and Rhodes couldn't handle that. So they got into a big fight when Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore and he threw Cody through a table. Now listen, Drew did address this on social media and basically said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't care, it's a wrestling trope. I'm still going to win the championship. It's like Far Cry Blood Dragon. We talked about this before. If you never played Far Cry Blood Dragon, they're all like, tutorials are so crap, but we still need you to do a tutorial. Otherwise, you won't know how to play the game. That's kind of what I feel like is going down here. Drew is being smart, he's leaning into it. But in terms of my tum-tum and my feelings, well, any anticipation I had for Drew McIntyre winning the title, it just went out the window. But at the same time, you just never know. Either way, though, I thought this was very well done, and Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are just so good at what they do. They were able to make me buy in, and once again, the promoing itself, fabu stuff. I am going to give it an up, and I really think this will have double impact. If Drew McIntyre does win, when I search my feelings like a Jedi, I just don't think it's going to happen. They do work well together, and overall, this SmackDown, I don't know, not a thumb middle, like a thumb 3/4. Like, it's okay, and if you sit down and watch it, you'll probably get a little bit more pumped for Sunday's main event. But overall, well, I go back to what I said earlier, it just needs a little bit more oomph, and it wasn't oomphless, it was just like oomph at 65%. I do not know why you watch me. Now, of course, more importantly, I want to know what you thought about SmackDown, so make sure you drop me a comment in the comments below. Where else are you going to put it? Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen to get ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. And if you are one of those two mascots, and you somehow watch this video, I'm sorry, right? I get it, it's fun. And I'm sure kids really enjoyed it. One of the dumbest things I've seen in a while. Have a great weekend, my friends. I will see you tomorrow to up those downs for Sunday night's main event. So catch you on Sunday.